What's up, everybody? This is David Arnold. I wanted to share with you guys another story from my stand-up journey. This one I probably would call, if you do anything long enough, you gonna take some lumps. I've been doing stand-up maybe 3 years, and there was a theater down in San Diego called 4th and B. It held like 3,500 people. And a friend of mine named Juan Dexter was one of the guys that was hosting and promoting it. There was one weekend where he asked me, did you want to close? Which the closer maybe does 25 minutes. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So the week before my headlining weekend, a friend of mine named Carl Banks was there to perform at 4th and B. I go down to watch Carl perform, and while I'm there, a comedian that was hosting the room, she was like, you want to just do a little 5-minute guest spot since you here, get a feel of the room, yada, yada, yada. I was like, cool, I'll do 5 minutes. I go out on stage, 3,500 black people out in this arena. What up, everybody? This is David Arnold letting you know I'm going back out on tour to prepare for my second Netflix special. Go to davidarnold.com for tickets and schedule. Ha! I start doing some new material about going to church with my grandmother. 3 minutes in, they start to get ready to boo. You hear that, right? I don't know if you've ever been booed by 3,500 people. I don't know if you know what it feels like for 3,500 people to collectively at one time decide we don't like you. That is overwhelming. And they started to move in that direction. And before it got to where I knew it was going, I said, my name's David Arnold, good night. I might have been on stage 3 minutes. I show up back in the dressing room. The host is like, what are you doing back here? You're supposed to do 5. I said, they started to boo me, and I'm not gonna be booed. She runs out, takes over, yada, yada, yada. Carl does his set at the end of the night. Now, the whole night, I'm livid. Like, I can't believe that I've been, like, booed. Now, here's the killer. When you leave the club at the end of the show, they pass out flyers for the next week's show, and the headlining / closing comedian picture is on the flyer. So I know this audience is leaving, and they're being given flyers with my picture on it of the person that they just booed. So I know that some of them got it and I'm like, this the motherfucker we just booed. I ain't coming back here. I leave the theater that night. I'm walking to my car. Around the theater are flyers with my picture on them, covering the ground. Some have footprints on my face where I know people purposely went, this mother ruined my evening. I got in my car and I sat in my car quietly, trying to figure out what went wrong. I sat there for about 2 hours. Later that day, that night, or the next morning, I called my friend Carl Banks and I told him, I said, I'm not gonna do the show next week. I'm gonna call the promoter and cancel. He's like, why? I said, I got booed. They don't wanna hear me. That's not my audience. That's not my crowd. And Carl said this to me. He said, let me tell you something. You're going to see that audience and that crowd again. And if you wanna be a comedian, you gotta be funny to everybody. You can't just pick and choose who you get to entertain. He says, so you need to collect yourself, figure it out, because in 6 days, they're gonna be calling your name again. I restructured my set. I went back the next week. I got a standing ovation. And the whole time, I was nervous as hell because I knew these people just booed me. And I knew that when I walked out on the stage, some of them were there last week. And I was right, because at the end of the show, an old lady came up to me and she said, baby, I was here last week when we booed you. We, which means she started it. She was like, I was here last week when we booed you, but you came back and you redeemed yourself. I said, wow. She said, bravo, bravo. And it was in that moment that I realized that if you do anything long enough, you gonna take lumps. Your lesson is whether or not you love what you do enough to take the lumps and keep going. That's what you have to decide. And there was never a moment where I thought I was gonna quit doing stand-up, but in that one moment, I was willing to redirect. And I'm glad I didn't, because it gave me the confidence to know it don't matter who I stand in front of. I know when I take that microphone, I'm going to put my foot in your ass with these jokes. But I learned that from going through what I went through in San Diego at 4th and B in 1999. Just another little lesson and a little story of what it takes to get where you want to get if you want to get to where you say you're trying to be. Take that with you.